Today, I'm really excited about this message. Amen. Because God is a faithful God. And because God confirms his word. God never just does something for the sake of doing. God always confirms his word. And I know that this word has been confirmed by very, very many people about Kenya. And I am just here just to reconfirm what God is speaking in this season. Because God is always speaking. I think it is us who are busy with life, or we are too caught up to listen or to hear him. But God is always speaking. And today, as I was praying and telling God, God, what is the message for the season? For this season we are in as Kenya. God, what are you saying about Kenya? God, I don't want to miss it because something is happening in Kenya. Something is happening and I'm feeling it, and I feel it in the spirit that something is happening in Kenya. Something is breaking and something is changing. And today, as I was praying, struggling with what to share today, God brought in my mind the image of a woman in labor, a woman who is just about to give birth. And as that picture came into my mind, I wondered, God, what is this about? Is this about Kenya? Is Kenya the woman who's about to give birth? And when I went back to the scripture, I Googled about woman in labor in the scriptures. And God highlighted a portion of scripture that I'm going to read to you guys today about what God is saying about the season that Kenya is in right now. Allow me to read. It's in the book of John 16, from verse 20 onwards. I shall read. It says this: most assuredly I say to you, that you will weep and lament, but the world will rejoice. And you will be sorrowful, but your sorrow will be turned into joy. A woman, when she is in labor, has sorrow because her hour has come. But as soon as she has given birth to the child, she no longer remembers the anguish for joy that a human being has been born into the world. Therefore you now have sorrow, but I will see you again, and your heart will rejoice, and your joy no one will take from you. And these words were uttered by Jesus Christ. And God was telling me in my spirit that this is what is happening in Kenya right now. Kenya right now, we are going through labor pains, labor pangs, because a child is just about to be born. And you ask God, so God, who is the mother and who is the child? And God told me that the mother is Kenya. Kenya is about to give birth to a child, what I shall call Kenya 2.0, a new Kenya, a Kenya that has never existed before, a Kenya that is going to be the child that gives the mother joy for the rest of their life. And the interesting thing about birth, because God has blessed us and I've been present as my wife has given birth to our 4 children. And one of the things about the labor process and the birth process is that there's a lot of blood involved. That blood has to be shed for a baby to be born. That is why right now in Kenya, there has been the shedding of blood, the cost of life. People who have given their life for the child to be born. And so God was telling me that had to be a necessary process for the child to be born. Number 2 is that labor comes after a period of pregnancy for 9 months. And normally the pregnancy period is a very difficult period for women. Their body undergoes changes. There are the hormones, weight gain, back pain, all these different things that happen that are very uncomfortable to the woman as she's carrying the child for 9 months. And God was showing me and telling me that from October 2023 until now, which has been 9 months, a lot of Kenyans have undergone one of the deepest and darkest periods of their life. Things they have never undergone before. They have gone through lack of money, marriage drama, business issues. They have gone through a pregnancy period that has been a very difficult child to carry. And the reason is because we are just at the brink of giving birth to a child. And God was showing me this and telling me that there's a video that I did about occupying your promise, about 2024 being the year that we will cross the Jordan River. When the children of Israel were at the Jordan River, with Joshua as their leader, they were about to cross to their promised land. But for them to occupy the promised land, then they had to fight for their promise, fight to occupy the space in the promised land. Because the promised land was inhabited by a people who had superior weaponry, superior machinery. Some of them were even giants, you know, the sons of Anak. And the children of Israel had to fight to occupy their promise. And God was telling me that Kenya at this time, we are at that brink. The brink of whereby, do we cross the Jordan and occupy our promise? Or do we go back to Egypt, where we have spent 400 years? And so God was telling me this, that Kenya right now at this time, we're about to give birth to a new child, a new Kenya, a fresh Kenya, a Kenya that is going to be the one that is going to take us to prosperity, the Kenya that is going to become the first world country. And right now, God was also showing me this, that, that Moses has died. And now we have a Joshua. And Joshua is the one God is going to use to take us to the promised land. You know, and I was like, Joshua? So who's the Joshua now? Who's the Joshua? And in my mind, it was very categorical that it was President William Ruto. That William Ruto was the one God is going to use. And I was like, but he has so many problems. He has so many. And God was going to, no, even though, despite of his issues, I'm still going to use him. Because the heart of the king is in the hand of God. And God, like the water of a stream, is going to move it the way he pleases. So Kenya, do not worry about the king who sits on the throne. God is going to use him because his heart belongs to God. And God is going to use that man who seems like he's not the one who will take us to the promised land. But God is going to use him to take Kenya to prosperity. As I finish this video, I do not want you to be ignorant of what is happening in Kenya. That right now, we're about to give birth to a child. And the process of birth is a very scary process. You know? The fear of losing the mother and losing the child. Because we felt like we're going to lose Kenya, you know. It felt like Kenya is going to burn. Kenya will not burn, no. And we will not lose the child. The child is going to be born. And the child that Jesus said that the child who's be born, the joy that you will receive, you will forget the pain that you've had. That it was interesting that once my wife gave birth to a child, the pain that she felt for the past 24 hours vanished at an instant. And once she held the child, she forgot. Very interestingly, it's like her memory was cleared. She forgot about the pain, the labor and everything. And the joy that she was filled in was indescribable. That is what is going to happen to Kenya. That in the next few months, we are going to experience, the next few years, we're going to enter a period of prosperity that we have never ever experienced before. And we're going to forget the pain that we have had, you know, the pain of the pregnancy, of carrying the child, the pain of the labor. God is going to make us forget. And as I end this, Jesus said this, your heart will rejoice. And your joy, no one will be able to take it away from you. So Kenya, do not worry. God is in control. Through this season, let's go through this process. We cannot skip labor, you know. The child has to be born. And the child will be born through pain and through blood. But let me tell you guys, it will be worth it. That at the end of the day, when we hold the child in our hand, when we hold a prosperous Kenya, it will be worth every pain, every drop of blood that has been shed will not be in vain. Till next time, my guys, God bless.